I called the meeting of the Personnel Policy Subcommittee meeting to order at 5:10 p.m. Do I have to do roll call or anything?
Mhm.
No. Okay.
We're all here.
All right. Review of minutes. Do I have any action on the minutes of 8/20/25?
Nope.
No.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? So moved. Okay. So I assume we're going to take these one by one.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So policies for review: BEDH, public comment and participation at board meeting. For second read.
There was an email from a resident. This is the one. They made the point that we put in there something about that questions have to be submitted a week in advance. They said, well, if we have to submit questions a week in advance, we need the agenda 2 weeks in advance because we need
I
time.
don't think I got that email.
Yeah, I didn't get that either, but I feel like we had discussion on that, but it wasn't. I think that was just to put it on the agenda. They can email questions.
Yeah, I'm looking for the language.
I'm trying to think.
So what we said is if they want agenda items, it has to be 2 weeks in advance, but for public comment, it does not. Because they don't need to see the agenda to add agenda items.
Right.
If public comment, I think we ask for a week in advance, and it does go out 7 days in advance.
And that I think though you can still send us public comment at any time. But just to understand,
If you want it read.
If you want it read or whatnot, we might not be able to.
Mhm.
Written comments 72 hours prior to meeting start
Mhm.
time. Yeah.
Okay. And the agenda is out well before 72 hours. Yeah. You don't.
Usually we try to get it out Friday.
I think that's a policy that has to. I don't know if it's so many hours
Mhm.
or days
It does,
in
it has
advance,
to,
but
it has
I think that's actually like the policy unless it's an emergency meeting.
So there's just a grammatical thing where it says obstructing the view of others with posters or otherwise, because it looks like speaking loudly was struck out, just the otherwise. It should just be a period or just obstructing the view of others with i.e. posters or however we want to.
Obstructing the view of others, comma, with posters, for example, or something like that.
I think that's on
The
page.
sample policy did say otherwise. I thought it was weird, but I thought it was kind of cool, so I left it.
You mean if it's otherwise, we just have to put a period there.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Page 4.
Page 4. Oh, yeah, that's the kind of stuff I clean up at the end
Okay,
when I do it.
sounds good.
There's always like boldface that isn't in there, and the legal references sometimes aren't lining up right, and I clean that stuff up. I don't ever change anything substantive,
Okay.
so it's just fonts and such.
So you just updated the optionals that we talked about last time, right?
Yeah, so the question that the board in general had last week was about the 5-minute comment period,
Mhm.
And whether or not it could be 5 minutes or 2, and Will said either way. So the School Board Association said that could go either way. It's up to you guys. Option 1, speakers may, this is just suggested language, I thought, maybe allowed an additional 5 minutes during a subsequent comment period at the discretion of the chair. You could change that to the board, whatever you want to do. And I don't like the way I wrote this last week, but speakers may not have an additional 5 minutes during a subsequent comment period without the approval of the board. So it's really the same thing. I don't love the wording, but basically so. So that's really up to you guys.
This was in the folder too, right? So everyone else on the board got this
Yeah,
ahead of
everybody
time,
got
right?
this
So
memo.
nobody should. We bring this to the full board tonight. There should be no. Maybe they don't agree with it, but there's going to be no like, I want to read this because I think this is definitely a policy that
Yep.
I don't
Ye-
see, Dr. Dawson, I don't
What's up?
see where it says the 5 minutes of one.
That's on the memo that I wrote everybody.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Those were the two options because it was sitting out in a comment up on the side. So I just flipped it into the memo. And it's just simple language saying it can be 5 minutes or less or 5 minutes twice, 5 minute once, or it can be the board's decision on the fly, whatever you guys want to do.
Where was the memo?
Email?
Oh, there it is. Oh, my
And that
brain.
is on point.
No, that's not what I was looking for.
Point number 4. B4.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
Maybe it's getting too in kind of nitty gritty, but not to the exclusion of others. Like, not that this has ever happened, but if I speak for 5 minutes in the first public comment,
mhm.
but there's 6 people who want their 5 minutes in the second public comment, I shouldn't be able to bump them. You know what I mean? I already got my 5 minutes. I don't know if we want to say anything along those lines, or just
Yeah.
defer to the chair and let the chair.
And maybe, yeah. Right. Maybe
yeah.
the chair has the right to kind of say,
well, that's where we
you
get
go.
the whole, like, it can be 30 to 60 minutes, but we can extend if we need to, like if there's more people. I mean,
Mhm.
I think for the most part, lately, I would say our public comment has calmed down quite a bit. So,
It's not that it's ever happened other than the Bakey situation.
yeah, I think if it's board chair or board as a whole, I think it's fine. Because I agree, like, but I do think people should be able to speak at both public comments because some things might be in the beginning of the agenda and then the end of the agenda. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with the changes that have been presented.
The policy, in the policy itself, there isn't a change presented there like on the sort of version that we give you guys. The question that would be, what I think you're saying is option 1, which is speakers may be allowed an additional 5 minutes during a subsequent comment period
At
at the discretion of the
chair or the board. Yeah, the
chair/board. I can add that in here sort of mentally and explain. It just depends whether you guys would prefer chair or board. I got it written as chair.
Chair is fine with me.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
chair is fine.
Yeah, and I like option 1 because it may be allotted at the discretion of the chair, so the chair can decide.
Pen is completely empty. I have an empty pen.
Oh, you're taking Mrs. Brick's pens?
Give them back. I screwed up her name at the open meeting.
I like that.
I know. Well, it was in our system differently.
We have 10 years for the next one, or 9 years and 9 months, 11 months, whatever it is.
For which one?
The next one, the meeting minutes.
Oh, this is going to be fun. I prefer option 2 on this one. I know that's not going to happen.
So before we go on to the next one, do we want to make a motion?
We have to make a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion to move policy BEDH, public comment and participation at board meeting, to second read for the full board,
Second.
As amended.
as amended. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor? So moved.
And I have that language. I can read it for you.
Okay, so next one, BEDG, school board minutes.
So, Heather, if you didn't see that memo,
I cannot find that memo.
it's okay. I have it. What this does is it says that every 10 years, and then every 10 years after that, or on a rolling basis, you need to review your unsealed minutes. So what they're basically, or sealed minutes. So what they're asking us to do, and us is the royal us, is to review all the old unsealed minutes that are in a cabinet at the superintendent's office. If you can identify what's going on the outside of the envelope, that might say personnel matter or whatever on the outside. my understanding is, and I just happen to have the former clerk of the district in the office today, is that a lot of them are just blank on the outside.
Mhm.
So in that point, it would either be the board sitting down in a work session in non-public and opening all the old non-sealed minutes that are more than 10 years old
Okay.
and reviewing them and deciding in public by a vote that doesn't have to include a discussion of
They have
what
to be
is in
10 years
there,
old.
but you have to publicly vote to seal them or unseal them, keep them sealed or unsealed, or you can delegate that task to the superintendent or another designee. And my recommendation would be, or my thought of those two people would be the school board minute taker,
Which would
Phyllis,
Okay.
and me to go back through and look at all of them and see if we can identify what they are. I think we're going to find things like negotiations about things like the Fremont contract in 2004, which don't really I would assume
So
don't need to be done.
these are the 10 years.
There are definitely some in there because I talked to Donna today, who was in the former coach. She's like, there's some in there that are going to be way older than that.
No, I guess what I'm asking is, so 10 years ago from now, so anything from 2015 past, we have to look at.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I was like,
Right. So you have, what they want to do is create a list of if I read this right, and I haven't read it in a couple of days, but we would create a list of everything that's in there. The sealed minutes list has to be created for non-public sessions occurring after July 1, 2021. And then we put, the name of the body, the date and the location, the start and end times of the session. So you're basically creating a list of all the non-public that you have looked at in the past. The date the vote to seal the minutes occurred, the date in which the sealed minutes will be unsealed, the date of subsequent decision to unseal the minutes, and then each time you create a new non-public minutes, we just add to that list, which I can only imagine in somewhere in here it's going to say it has to be publicly available. I'm sure that's true because it would fit 91A anyway. So my suggestion would be, I'm pretty sure what it says is we have to go back and look at everything that's at least 10 years old and unseal anything that's 10 years old or older that doesn't need to be in sealed minutes anymore. They're kind of prying.
oh, so like negotiation things that are done, but not like,
Yeah.
but not personnel stuff.
Notes for the teacher contract in 1997
That can be.
are probably in the envelope sealed somewhere at the SAU that we have to find. And
But
that
I'm
gives us-
thinking when I think like personnel, like staff, like if a staff was,
a discipline issue where a staff person
Yeah.
was dismissed or suspended, that would probably be one that,
it would stay sealed.
and I would come back to you and say, okay, here's the list. And in non-public, we would talk about what's in there.
Mhm.
These are notes, and you guys could ask me who the person was or not, doesn't matter. And I would say, okay, this is a discipline for somebody I've never even heard of in 1979. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys might say, we're going to leave that sealed or we're going to unseal it, depending on what the circumstances are.
So is this a new law?
Yep.
Okay.
This is the whole, I believe, this is a revision to the policy, but there's a hugely significant revision to the policy.
Yeah, so we probably have more than 10 years worth of
Sealed minutes.
sealed minutes.
Yes, and we do have till October 3rd, 2033 to finish the process.
Okay. Well, that's time.
Wow.
So they give us some time, but that's basically, it's 10 years from when the policy was passed, when this was passed. We just haven't updated our policy in a timely fashion, so.
I mean, is this first or second read to the board?
I don't think it says first and second. I think it doesn't say anything. I think only the first one said.
So then I think,
Second read.
so then I think we have to decide if we even want to move it to the board.
I'm fine with moving it to the board.
Mhm.
Um,
And you prefer option one?
Option one has that work done
Oh, they're already on
by the
agenda.
superintendent or his or her designee.
Yep.
To compile the log, and then for the superintendent. So option one, the superintendent compiles a list of all sealed minutes and the reasons on the outside of the envelope. And that's completed by whatever the date is. And the superintendent or his designee will review the contents and determine if the initial review still applies, recommend that they be unsealed, determine a new date when they're going to be reviewed within, wait for it, 9 years and 10 months. And then be reviewed next and to reseal them.
Mhm.
and then add a note to the list of sealed minutes giving that date. So you're creating basically a master list of when your sealed minutes are there. And then you guys would review in non-public session the minutes recommended for unsealing, and either unseal them within 72 hours or keep them sealed. And your votes on every one of those has to be done in public. So that's kind of one of those things we could potentially chip over.
Right? I mean,
Over
think of
time.
how many, I feel like pretty much every meeting we have a non-public.
And I don't know if that was, like we said, I mean, the district goes back to 1966. We could be looking at stuff
Yeah.
going all the way back.
Yeah.
So when I know, without going and digging around in the file cabinet, which I'm not, I've seen some because I've seen we were looking for something else and we found some.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the envelopes are just a date.
I
Yeah.
mean, I like the plan of you and Phyllis sort of kind of slogging through this and bringing it to us at subsequent intervals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And my thinking would be probably just from a practical standpoint, we'd start all the way back
Yeah.
as far as we can, because that'll give us an idea of what's in there.
Yeah.
And that might also help us alleviate and figure out a real process to make this make sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if reading the whole thing again and making sure I understand all of it is, how much detail can we put in the list?
Mhm.
I know some personnel stuff that's happened during my time that wouldn't come up yet. It's not there yet, but if there were similar things going on in the past,
Yeah.
some would definitely want to be sealed,
Mhm.
and there'd be debates, and it's really up to the board as a whole to decide what gets released and what doesn't.
Okay.
So then I'm comfortable with make a motion to move policy. What's the name of it?
BEDG.
BEDG for first read and discussion to the board.
Second.
All in favor? So moved. All right, next policy, BBAA, school board member authority.
Okay. This, as I wrote, appears to be a clarification of a few things formatted differently than our the previous policy, and this is one of those that basically I've just flipped it completely into the format of the New Hampshire School Boards Association.
Mhm.
That clarifies 6 things. Board members' authority is only what happens in meetings. Board members do not have the authority to speak on behalf of the board unless the board says they can. If board members want to speak out on school things outside of a meeting, they need to make sure to state that they do not speak for the board.
Mhm.
Board members have power only when given that power by the board. No legal action may take place except in a meeting with a quorum present. And board decisions are binding until rescinded during a board meeting.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
I make a motion to move policy BBAA for first read and discussion by larger board.
Second.
All in favor? So moved.
So, should have done this memo last time. I'm learning every
Oh,
day.
boy.
Oh,
All right,
criminal background checks.
Ah, this was fun.
This is the
GBCD.
one that I really wanted to make sure that got updated. So thank you, Dr. Dawson.
No problem. This was a process and a half to get done because what I'm really trying to leave. Well, I'll ask you that after. Remind me to ask you a question about this one after. So this greatly expanded the amount of information that was in the criminal background check, or what they call it, a criminal history records check here.
Yep.
And what they really clarified the policy. It's much more expansive, much more clear. Although one critical section I don't find very clear at all, but that's just me. So the notes I have are provides with many more specifics the process by which the SAU runs background checks on various employees. The background check will be done for pretty much everyone, including volunteers who work with kids, largely defined as those who may be alone with children in an unsupervised way. So if you have a visiting coach at football practice and they're outside the field house and there's 4 other coaches there and they're working with the kids, that's okay. But if they're going to be there on a consistent basis, then we get them checked. We currently follow the new policy pretty closely. I should say very closely because I watch Renee go through it every day, and I'm on the state police background check site at least twice a day right now. A few notes on the process. There was a question in by a resident about bus drivers, a comment about that, and I double checked on that specifically, and they do not need to be checked by us if they are contracted with a company that we have a contract with, and we can be assured in writing that they've done that, which I have. I have emails swapped with them.
Mhm.
It's not in our contract language, which I don't love, but that would mean kind of rewriting the contract for the bus company. So I'm going to investigate that once we get through tonight to see where we're at. But I definitely reached out to Durham. They do our special ed kids. Durham is also Fremont's bus company and coach company as well, and they assure me that all of their drivers have passed the checks. A less than clear check for something other than a Section 5 offense, and the Section 5 offense is, if you look at that really ancient policy, GBCDE, is basically this stuff, like kidnapping and, manslaughter and just all the horrifying stuff. But the ones less than that is left to the determination of the superintendent. For instance, if you're 40 years old and when you were 21, you went to a frat party at UNH and got arrested, and they dismissed it, it's going to show up on your background check.
Mhm.
But that's the kind of thing that we might be like, okay, listen, you were 20, and it wasn't anything horrifying.
Well, we have that with a lot of our family partners and peer specialists. They have lived experience. And with that lived experience, they may have things on their background check,
Yeah.
like DCF filings or a DUI.
Mhm.
So it's things that are determined by HR if that is what we would say culpable risk or not.
Right. And so, that will come up on occasion. I've seen a situation where somebody showed up on the list for a felony charge, and it wasn't them. It was their sister who gave the police out west her sister's name. So Sister A got arrested and gave Sister B's name as who that was.
Wow.
The charge went through that way, and it showed up in their criminal record check when they wanted to work.
Oh,
But we
geez.
figured it out.
So I guess
And they were a great employee, by the way. They were fantastic. They were awesome. But I've seen that weirdness happen. So those people we would look at the superintendent's level. I've run into that already, and I had a long conversation with our security guy, Dan Doyle, and and we both were in agreement that that's okay.
So I guess my question is, and I can't see this, is we obviously do this upon hire,
Mhm.
but one of my concerns and things that have come out since the Bakey investigation is we don't do these yearly or triannually. So where I work, we have to do these a Corey, a Sori, and a driver background. We do those triannually.
Mhm.
And I know it may be more of a cost to the district, but I think for a lot of taxpayers, parents, they'd feel more confident knowing that these were done on a more regular basis, because you could get hired and then within 4 years you could get a
Right.
criminal charge.
Yeah, because then something part of that slips through the cracks.
Yeah.
With when the baking person was
Mhm.
hired.
And I've had experience in the last number of years, I'm being very vague intentionally, where I became aware of an educator not working in my district who had a criminal offense that occurred. And I reached out to the state and was like, do I need to report this to you? And the answer was no. Because it wasn't a felony,
Mm-hmm.
but their answer was no, unless it fit on this list, that, the list of all the offenses, which are all, it wasn't that.
Yeah.
Because I was able to describe
And
the
again, I
offense to
don't
the
want to
state, so-
discriminate or lose
Yeah.
teachers, but I also want to make sure that if there is some sort of charge or thing that comes up, we're protecting our students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I think that.
On a related note, a substitute teacher emailed because they were required, it's a long email, but they're required to go through the background check again. And Kingston Police now charges $43.75. The substitute said, when I first did it, I was reimbursed. When I had to do it a second time, I was told to be in my first paycheck, and it wasn't. So that's going to be an issue too, is maybe, I guess.
They're getting all
Do-
sorts of emails that I don't get.
Yeah. Me neither.
It's interesting.
So it did. They
Yeah, I
they
don't-
had to get
I-
done
I
again,
don't know either.
like a year difference, or
Yeah. Over COVID, and they were immunocompromised, so they were coming in the building, and that was okay, but their records got
No, I
Deleted
think
or
I think
whatever.
if we're having a substitute, if we're having anyone, then we should be
paying.
paying that.
If
as
we're
a district.
requiring.
If we're requiring it, yes.
Okay. But that's $43.75
Per
times
person.
everybody we hire, all the volunteers, all the coaches, all those people. That's fine. I'm just saying that is an expense. And if you want to do it every 5 years, that's another piece. It's not
Well, that's
4,300.
that's why
It's
I
not-
want to kind of bring that back to the board for discussion today. What is the financial? I just think,
Yeah.
I know for me as a human service professional, we do it triannually. We don't, we could do every 5 years,
Yeah.
I think I would rather be safe than sorry.
How many staff do we have? Like, not including substitutes. Like, how many staff
We were
would we be
talking
talking about?
teachers today, about 120. So I would say we could probably double that. I'm not entirely, Marie would have a better answer than I would.
Okay, so
Let's say it's 240 plus volunteers. And
okay,
if you're like volunteers pay, if you will, half price. The bargain is to come in as a volunteer and then get flipped up and get paid.
okay. So if
Get
we
it
don't
for half
include the
price.
volunteers at $54, that's $12,960 plus the volunteers. I mean, I suppose you could say that that's a drop in the bucket in terms of the budget. I do remember this coming up though earlier this year.
And there was a
And there was a
couple
big
constituents,
concern.
there was a couple community members that did email and ask about that
Mm-hmm.
specifically. So I think it's just worth the discussion with the
Yeah, I
larger
think we
board.
should discuss that with the board.
And it wouldn't be, let's say it's 15,000, it's not going to be 15,000 every 5 years. It's going to be an increment of that
Yes,
as people,
because people.
it's
be
a
on
roll, it's a rolling
rotation.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like if we started a roll, so it's like, let's say it's every 5 years and we started with, people that are in their 5th year.
Yeah.
And we worked our way, we just sort of
Yeah.
let it roll out over a
Yeah.
number of years or 3 years or whatever it is. Then we're spreading that cost over a time.
Yeah.
The other thing that occurs to me is people could pay their first time when they enter the district, and then those subsequent ones would be something that we could pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And that would spread it out. Say if you're doing 50 a year times $50, you're talking $2,500. You're not
Mhm.
talking a ton of money. That's just kind of a,
Yeah. How for the volunteers? So the volunteers right now currently do not have any type of background check.
Yes, we do.
We do. Oh,
To be so like, I guess mine expired. I did not realize, but I know for Memorial Renee has a list of who the volunteers are that are background and fingerprinted,
Yep.
and then those get sent to the coordinators of the volunteers.
so if my kid is in first grade and I want to plan the first grade Christmas party, am I a
That's
volunteer?
different because that's PTO. If you want to go on a field trip, if you want to work the book fair, if you want to do reading. So there's a difference between how PTO boosters are coordinated. And so like boosters and PTO, they are a non-school sponsored event.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Christmas party is non-school sponsored. It is housed at the school. Students are welcome to come, but it does not follow under the same.
Even though it's taking place during school,
Are you talking about like this?
like the first grade classroom.
Oh, they don't really, they don't do that very often anymore. But if they do that, then you have to be fingerprinted and background checked to be the one to do that. So like all the room parents have to be fingerprinted and background checked.
Okay, I guess I was thinking more like along the lines of a room parent or the person next to the room
So like
parent. But
when my oldest was at Memorial, it was a free for all. Like anyone could be there. Like
Yeah.
as long as a teacher was there, like you didn't have to be fingerprinted or background checked. But now the rules they're much stricter
Yeah.
on who can be there and who cannot. But
And-
each school has a list of who the volunteers are.
and some of that is coming from the state. Those rules.
Some of it's
Is
from the state. I think some of it's from board policy. Some of it, from decisions that have been made by the former superintendent. And,
I think that's more. We have to look at the volunteers. There's probably volunteer policy, but
it sort of went into effect during COVID. I know that because when we came back from COVID,
Yeah.
a lot of us older parents were a little bit shocked by some of the new rules for our kids once they were back at school. Like they stopped doing some of the things that they had done before because parents had to be fingerprinted and background checked to be able to do some of those things.
I guess I'm
And-
just concerned about making it so that parents can't participate if we make it too strict. Because
It is too strict. I will say that because some parents cannot afford the $45 to get background checked and fingerprinted to be able to go on you can't go on a field trip unless you were fingerprinted and background checked.
Yeah, and if I don't know if I guess I'm just thinking like if something even kind of comes up last minute or something, is that just one more hoop to jump through? I definitely got the sense when my kids were younger. At this point, like Bakey and Memorial were both elementary schools, right, running on completely separate rules, and it really felt like at Bakey the parents were not allowed to come in. Like parents were not wanted. And then I feel like COVID hit, and then we just had this huge problem where it was parents weren't involved and is involved because they felt like, you know, the old Bakey mentality that they're not welcome, or is it COVID? So, you know, we talk about wanting more community involvement. I think we can't make it.
But as a Memorial parent, we were super involved. I was in that school when my oldest was at Memorial K through 5. I was at that school at least twice a week. I was doing story time. I was doing art projects. I was, making copies. Like Memorial parents were very involved. There were so many, like teachers never needed to worry because there was always at least 2 room parents and multiple other parents who weren't even room parents. Like I remember one Halloween party, there was 15 parents in the room.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Definitely was not the case at Bakey.
So I think I do think so on some level there is, it is a little bit. I do think it's also funny that some of us have to pay to be fingerprinted and checked, even though we're fingerprinted and checked through other state agencies. Like we have a lot of DCF social workers that are parents here.
Our new hires that are getting certified have to go through one with the state from the DOE and one with us because they won't share it. And they clear.
Yeah.
Like they get certified. We get the certification. We know they must have cleared. They have to have cleared to get through there, but I'm waiting. We got 3 that popped today, and 2 of them were in that situation. They had just gotten new certifications, and we knew they were good, but we couldn't formally do anything until we got that. Of course, Renee's got everything done except let go, and like we can put these kids. We got them in the school tomorrow. Yeah, like Renee's got everything else done except we can't let them be in the school alone.
Yeah,
with the kids, without that, because that's the thing. So
I think those are those are our kind of couple questions. Do we want to?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the things that we want to discuss with the board.
Designated volunteer policy talks about it's IJOC. So designated volunteers are subject to the provisions of policy GBCD, investigation criminal records check.
So make a motion to move GBCD to the board for first read and discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
You want
So moved.
to bring up that 5-year at that point in the big meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I figured
part.
you would,
That's going to be part of my discussion.
Okay.
And I brought that up publicly in prior meetings too.
And I can tweak out some language on setting up a rolling.
So we're repealing GBCDE.
GBCDE is from, wait for it, boys and girls, July 31st of 2000. I don't know if that's a record holder for the oldest policy in the book. I'm going to guess it's not. But, hey, let's hope.
Oh, I love how it lists the charges.
What they do in the law now, and if you click on the law I think I linked in the link is in the policy if you have your computer open. But if you go to the law, it literally it lists all these code numbers. So the list will say Section 5 offenses are 630:1, 630:1A, 630:1B, and they just list all the numbers. They don't tell you what the charges are. And I talked to Will at the School Board Association. He said, if you do it referring to the law, then when they change the law, where you got it. So you don't have to update your policy. So his recommendation was just, you don't need this. It's unnecessary.
Okay.
And we should just repeal it.
Well, I make a motion to appeal GBCDE.
Second.
All in favor?
Do we need to move that to the board to be repealed?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will amend my motion. I make a motion to move to the board for GBCDE for repeal.
Second.
All in favor? So moved.
Nice.
Okay, we have no one here for public comment. Our next policy meeting is TBD. And this meeting is adjourned at 5:45.